My name is Chris Quartuccio. I'm the Chief Decision Maker at Blue Island Oysters. So when I was 12 years old, I started harvesting clams. And after I got out of college, I decided I wanted to open my own business. I founded Blue Island Oysters. I think the best way to eat an oyster is naked. You just eat it raw right there on the half shell. You need three things in order to shuck an oyster properly. You need ice, because we're gonna get these oysters really, really cold. We're gonna put them to sleep, and when they're not looking, we're gonna sneak up and open them. The second thing we need is the right oyster. The oyster that I recommend is something where the hinge on it, because that's where you're gonna stick your knife, is horizontal to the bottom shell. Just like that, and actually you should be able to hold it. The other thing you need is the correct knife. What I recommend is an oyster knife that has a bent tip, okay? Because you're gonna use that to use a leverage. One thing I recommend everyone to use when they're shucking oysters, you have to have a glove. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna choke up on this knife. When new people open up oysters, the first instinct is to hold it by the handle. But if you're shucking that oyster like this, and you're holding that handle, if you slip, you're gonna go right into your hand. But if you choke up on it like this, you're gonna have more control. You're gonna be able to wiggle it in there. And if you do slip, you're only gonna go so far. The other thing I recommend is using a towel. We're gonna choke up on that knife and we're gonna wiggle it in it. There's a muscle that connects the upper shell and the bottom shell. And what we're gonna do is we're prying, we're stretching that muscle. And that's what's separating the shells. We have the top shell and we have the bottom shell. And what we wanna do is sever the muscle from the top shell. So I'm keeping the knife extremely close to the top shell and I'm sliding it down. Now we still have the muscle connected to the bottom shell. So we want to take our knife and just scoop on the bottom like that. Now the meat is totally disconnected from the shell. What we could do is what's called the Philadelphia flip. We take the oyster meat and we flip it over. And now that the lower belly is showing up, it's much more plump and much more full on the oyster there. You can suck that oyster right off the shell. You just take the shell and throw it back where it came from, right back into the water. And that's how we shuck oysters here at Blue Island Oyster Farm.